Welcome to WatchMojoUK, and today we're looking at classic Beatles songs that various members of the band have said they didn't like over the years.
And now and then.
Number 10. Mean Mr. Mustard. Since the Beatles disbanded in 1970, the most vocal critic of the group's back catalogue was John Lennon.
Me and Mr. Mustard sleeps in the park, shapes in the dark.
He made his thoughts known about many of their songs, including lots of his own that he felt weren't up to his standards. Mean Mr. Mustard was one of them, written in 1968 and eventually turning up on Abbey Road.
Keeps a 10-mark note up his nose.
But Lennon called it, quote, a piece of garbage, supposedly written about an article he read about a dirty old man putting cash in an unmentionable place, though that part of the story was changed in the lyrics to his nose.
Such a mean old man. Such a mean old man.
Given Lennon's disdain for it, it's surprising it turned up on Abbey Road at all. Number 9. Obla-dee, obla-da. Maybe the most maligned Beatles song of all time, Obla-dee, obla-da has its fair share of critics among even the most ardent fans. But for decades, stories have circulated that John Lennon hated Obla-dee with a passion.
John didn't like this song, Obla-dee, obla-da. Am I correct?
Who says?
He supposedly called it more of McCartney's notorious granny music. But decades on, and McCartney seemed to debunk this story, saying that Lennon was actually the one who came up with the song's piano intro and helped the rest of the band to finish it.
He liked it.
I think so, yeah.
But, though he wasn't a member, sound engineer Jeff Emmerich quit working for them during these sessions for the White Album, apparently because of the bad atmosphere while recording this tune. Number 8. Good Morning, Good Morning. This song from Sgt. Pepper was another written by Lennon that he never particularly liked. He called this one garbage at one point too. It's definitely one of the more forgettable songs on this masterpiece of an album, despite still having the record's trademark horns and some great guitar licks.
Nothing to do to save his life, call his wife in.
It eventually descends into sound effects of animals making noises. According to Lennon, it was inspired by a cornflakes advert he happened to have been watching, which is probably why he was so dismissive of it.
Everybody knows there's nothing doing, everything is closed, it's like a ruin.
There are interesting things here, but it's not surprising that Lennon felt the way he did. Number 7. Yesterday. It's always been up there as one of their greatest hits, remaining at the top of the streaming charts decades on, and becoming, perhaps, the most covered song of all time.
Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away.
But Lennon, again, voiced his dislike for this McCartney classic. He said that, quote, it doesn't say anything, and he never wished he'd written it, though admitting it is a beautiful song.
Why she had to go, I don't know.
Interestingly, Bob Dylan also supposedly didn't like the song, despite its immortal status in pop music today. Lennon would go on to criticize Yesterday on How Do You Sleep, while also claiming that it was the only good song McCartney ever wrote, though of course the Beatles had only just split when he said that, and many blamed McCartney for how it happened. Number 6. 8 Days a Week. None of the Beatles were particularly fond of 8 Days a Week, which could be why it was never released as a single here in the UK.
Ooh, I need your love, babe. Guess you know it's true.
It did soar to the top of the US charts, but even that wasn't enough to convince the Beatles that the song was actually all that good.
I ain't got nothing but love, babe. 8 days a week.
They never wanted to play it live, though according to some, it was potentially going to be the lead single for the band's follow-up film to A Hard Day's Night, Help. That was until the song Help came along and renamed the album and the movie. It did eventually get a tie-in film though, as it was used as the title of a documentary about their early touring years. Number 5. Hold Me Tight. A very early track in their discography, this was actually written back in 1961, but its release was pushed back. This is a rare case of a Lennon-McCartney song that neither Lennon nor McCartney particularly liked, with McCartney openly calling it filler. Harsh words from him. Interestingly, during his years with Wings, McCartney would reuse its name. Is this because he forgot he had already used it for an early Beatles tune? Or was it because he just had such a low opinion of Hold Me Tight that he didn't mind reusing the name, potentially overwriting its existence? Number 4. She Said, She Said. It's likely that, so many years on, Paul McCartney no longer has such bad blood for this tune from Revolver.
She said, I know what it's like to be dead.
But it's well documented that he stormed out of the studio while they were recording it. Though it was credited to the Lennon-McCartney partnership, just like all the songs the pair wrote, even if they were done separately, McCartney had almost no influence on it.
'Cause you're making me feel like I've never been born.
He revealed that he didn't even play bass on the recording, and that George Harrison stepped in after he left. This was all because the song was inspired by the group's recent experiments with psychedelic substances, something McCartney was still against at that time. Number 3. Twist and Shout.
Well, shake it up, baby, now. Shake it up, baby.
You'll likely know that this massively popular early Beatles single is a cover, though perhaps not why John Lennon wasn't a fan of their version originally.
Come on, baby, now, baby.
He had no acrimony to the song itself, but his performance on it. At the time, he had a cold and almost destroyed his voice, though the result is absolutely iconic. It was recorded in just 2 takes at the end of a long 12-hour day of recording, and Lennon didn't, at first, like listening to it because of how much he had damaged his throat during the sessions. He did warm to it eventually, and it became a staple Beatles track. Number 2. Revolution 9. Lennon and Yoko Ono's soundscape, Revolution 9, is one of the closers on the White Album. Clocking in at over 8 minutes long, McCartney wasn't involved in its creation whatsoever. In fact, he wasn't even in the country. By Jeff Emmerich's account, when he got back, he tried to convince John to leave Revolution 9 off the White Album entirely, something Lennon was dead against. McCartney failed, and the experimental track appeared next to last on the second LP of the album, still credited to Lennon-McCartney. It remains a controversial piece in the Beatles' back catalogue, should it ever have been released as a Beatles song at all, or kept for John and Yoko.
We publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
Number 1. Maxwell's Silver Hammer. The song the Beatles themselves hated above all else, Maxwell's Silver Hammer may have been a contributor to their demise in 1970.
John was quizzical, studied pataphysical.
A typically upbeat McCartney song, despite its dark subject matter, Maxwell was always one of Paul's favourites. He liked it so much that he insisted to his bandmates that it must be played and recorded in a certain way, which led to endless unpleasant sessions during the filming of Get Back.
Bang, bang, Maxwell's silver hammer came down upon her head.
By the end, Lennon, Harrison and Starr all hated it, and never made their dislike a secret. The song was finished and appeared on Abbey Road, but it was never a single like McCartney so desperately wanted it to be.
Okay, that's Maxwell.
Let us know in the comments which of these songs you think is underrated.
Oh, I believe in yesterday.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojoUK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.